All right, so we just created the template in our last activity. Today I'm going to show you how to create content for your template. You can see I have a green screen behind me. You can see I have two lights here. Lighting is important. You don't waste shadows on the green screen or it makes everything difficult to isolate. So let's get started. Fun activity. Here we go. All right, guys. So most of y'all have taken pictures out in the hall in front of the green screen. And I hope I explained to you the importance of proper lighting, because having lights that don't have shadows on the green screen makes your job so much easier. So most of you have a green screen picture. I have a handful of you working from home right now for various reasons. You probably don't have access to a green screen, and that's okay. Just take a picture of yourself in front of a solid colored wall and make sure you're not wearing the same color clothing as the wall. Otherwise it becomes difficult for you to isolate yourself. So let's get started. Go ahead and open up Photoshop. And you'll notice I have the template we created the other day. We're going to be using that, so if you haven't done that activity, you need to do so. And then I'm going to open up a picture of one of the students. I chose Rachel because I'm pretty sure she won't mind. Okay, so we have a picture of Rachel right here on the green screen. You'll notice there are no shadows in the background. That's what we want. And let's go ahead and unlock this. All right, so I'm going to zoom in one time, and our initial selection here is very important. It makes our job going forward easier anyway. So I'm going to use color range because I want to make a selection of one color throughout this image, and this is the most efficient method. So select in the menu bar, let's go to color range, and I've done this once, so I kind of know the fuzziness setting, but this fuzziness right here, you'll have to use trial and error within each picture. So she's wearing a sweater that kind of has, at least it appears in the picture, to have somewhat of a green tint to it. So when I initially started to do this, I had to start really low with this fuzziness setting, but I later found out that I could go a little higher. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with 40 right there for your fuzziness, folks. And then you always want to start with your initial selection eyedropper. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to select the green part of the canvas, and you'll see anything that's in the white is what's selected. So I have that selected. I'm going to add to the selection right there. And that's my preview. I'm going to bump this fuzziness up. Let me go up to 50 right there. And that's going to include more variations of that green and kind of refine the selected area. So right now, what's in white is selected. What's in black is not selected. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Right, so that is my selection, and as I analyze it, it looks okay. But now I've got to flip it because I need to apply a mask. So let me go select and inverse, and well, did that select her? Let me see. All right, looks like it selected Rachel. Rachel's selected and the background selected there, so let's mask it away with our mask button. All right, so that's what I'm left with. And I can work with that, that's fine. You'll see there's a little green kind of tint to the edges. We're going to fix that in just a second. But before we do so, let's crop this down a little bit. So crop tool is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th button down right there. If you do not see it, it means you're probably in a different workspace. So go to Window, Workspace, make sure you're in Essentials, and then always get in the habit of resetting Essentials to get all the tools to go back to their default. So I'm going to reset it. I've got my crop tool there. Now you may have a fixed aspect ratio, a 1:1 or whatever it may be. We don't want a fixed aspect ratio, so make sure you hit this clear button right there to clear that, and that allows you to resize it kind of freehand the size you want. So we're just trying to get Rachel with the transparent pixels, and once we do, we're good. All right, so Rachel's there with transparent pixels. Let's go ahead and let's remove the green hue along the edge of both her sweater and her hair. So we're going to use a tool called the color replacement tool. So that is 2 below your paintbrush right there. It'll say color replacement tool. Go ahead and select it. And the way this tool works is we sample a color. So we'll sample the color of her sweater right there, and then we'll paint it over the edge. So to sample, we're going to hold down the Option key with our left hand and sample a color from that sweater, and you'll see it's kind of putting that gray on there. That's fine. And now with a appropriate size brush, I have a 60, size 60 soft, and I'm going to just go through and paint along the edge, and that's going to remove that green kind of tint that we don't want. So let's get rid of that. Okay, so I got along that side. I'm going to go to the right side as well. All right, looks like I have to go back and do that because it's not the same color. So over here you can see it's more of a brownish color. So let me resample. So Option, key with the left hand, sample that color, and now I should be able to just paint along that edge right there. And I may have to switch colors up here a little bit, so I'm going to sample up there and get along the edge up there as well. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now we're going to do the same process to the edge of her hair that might have green. So I'm going to hold the Option key, get a brown, and go along the edge of her hair. Just barely along the edge. You don't want to overdo it, or you'll see that you've overdone it. See, it's changed to brown. That's what we want. Command to minus. That looks pretty good. So we have the image to this point. Let's go ahead and apply our layer mask. So right-click your layer mask over here and choose Apply Layer Mask. All right, that makes it one layer. And now we need to find a background image. So I've already done so. I went to the internet and found an image. So I'm going to open that. Y'all know how to go find a background image, so find one of your own. I'm not going to provide it. And just make sure it's a high enough resolution. So I'm going to go to File or Open, and I should have a field of flowers right there that I'm going to open. So I have a field of flowers, and now I'm simply going to put Rachel in the field of flowers. So let me go ahead and let's go back to Rachel's picture. Now this picture is really big. It's 10.5 inches wide. How wide is this one? It'll work. Now I can just move that over, okay? So it's similar in size. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move Rachel over to this field of flowers. Maybe it's not similar size. All right, so I was worried that was going to happen. Let me go Command and minus and get my Show Transform controls. So I'm going to hold Shift as I grab the corner sizing handle to maintain the aspect ratio. Fine. All right, so she's in the field of flowers. It looks like that. You can see our mask looks pretty good. The green screen mask and our selection looks good. All right, I like it. Let's go ahead and save this as a JPEG. Save it as JPEG. So I'm going to go to File. Actually, before you do that, let's do this. Before you do it, I want you to hit the buttons Command, Shift, and the number 3. So Command, Shift, and 3. It takes a picture of your screen because we're going to use that picture later to put in the template. So you've taken a picture of this at this point. Now we're going to go to save this as JPEG. So let's go to File, Save As, and we're going to save this as a JPEG. So change that file format to JPEG right there. And it's called Field of Flower. We'll just call Finished. Field of Flowers, Finished. You save it as whatever you want. All right, make sure your quality is at 12 for maximum. And now we're going to go to our poster template. So what we're going to do is we're going to, number one, place the image just above the big rectangle on the layer panel. So I need to go to File, and I'm going to choose Place Embedded. And the reason I'm going to do that, place it embedded, it will resize the image. So Field of Flowers, the JPEG, is going to bring that image in. and then I need to size it how I see fit, and that looks good right there. Okay, so brings that in. All right, it makes the image is nice and clear, high resolution. All right, so that image is directly above that rectangle, right? So go ahead and select the rectangle layer, and then you're going to hold the Option key with your left hand and position the mouse between the two layers. So Option key with the left hand, position the mouse between the two layers, and click. It clips the image inside that shape. That's why we create the shape. So we clip that inside. All right, let's see what this shape will look like in a stroke, with a stroke. I don't know if it's going to look good, if it's going to work how I envision, but let's try it. Let's go stroke. And are you going to work for me? Let's go black or dark. And let's try a bigger stroke. Or it's going to, yeah, that's going to work. All right, so let's put a stroke of outside there. Let's try 25. Okay, stroke of 25. That puts a black stroke around the shape. Let's see, is it doing a good job? It should. Yeah, it looks fine. So it puts a black stroke around the shape, makes the image pop just a little bit more. So that looks good. Let's go ahead and we're going to put the original picture of Rachel in front of the green screen right there. So which rectangle is that? It's rectangle 2. So I'm going to select rectangle 2, and I'm going to go to File, Place Embedded, and I'm going to get the picture of Rachel right there in the green screen. I'm going to hold Shift to resize it to maintain the aspect ratio. And I'm going to reduce my opacity just so I can kind of see the position. Alright, so that's where my box is going to be. So I'm actually going to resize it a little bit more. Size it down just a little bit. Alright, so there I go. Alright, I'm going to commit that transformation. I'm going to move it to the left just a little bit. I'm using my arrow keys to do this. Alright, so back at 100% on opacity, I'm going to select rectangle 2 right there. I'm holding Option on the keyboard and position between the two layers and clicking. That clips that image inside that shape. Okay, and on that rectangle, I'm going to put a stroke as well. And let me see if 25 is going to work good or not. So, looks fine. Alright, this next one, I'm going to apply the picture of the flowers. So, let me go to select that layer, or that shape. That was rectangle 3, so I'm selecting rectangle 3. I'm going File, Place Embedded. And that was Field of Flowers right there. All right, and Shift to resize. Commit, drop the opacity. That's fine right there. Alright, and let's go ahead and Option on the keyboard, clip it, and then I did something wrong. Hold on. I need to select the base layer, rectangle 3. Let me take the opacity up first. Alright, so I have rectangle 3 selected right there. I'm holding Option on the keyboard and I'm clicking in between those two layers. Alright, so on rectangle 3, let's add a stroke. And it should be at 25 in black, and that's what we want. Alright, last rectangle we need to select is rectangle 4. That's that one. And on that one, we're going to place the screenshot of your Photoshop platform. So let's go to File, Place Embedded. And there's our screenshot right there. And I'm going to reposition the screenshot. And I need to size that down quite a bit. So Shift. And this one I am going to distort it just a little bit just because I want more of the Photoshop platform to appear here. Okay, so it's just kind of what I have to do. Sorry, Rachel. All right, so that's that. Let's go ahead, commit that transformation, and we're going to clip it inside our shape as well. So select rectangle 4, hold the option key, and clip it. And it's clipped inside the shape. I just need to make it a little bigger. Oops, that's what was going on there. I need to stretch out the screenshot. Okay. All right, so that's clipped. Uncheck it. All right, let's apply a black stroke to that as well. So FX stroke, and it should be okay. And I applied it to the wrong thing because I didn't apply it to rectangle. Select your rectangle, apply the stroke there. So stroke, 25 black outside. All right, that's what we want. That looks good. The last thing we are left to do is change the text. So I told you in the previous video we're going to match the text color to something that's already there. So let me see if purple would work. I mean, I could try yellow, but then it might not look good. We'll try yellow. So I'm going to go to the title, which is right there. So I have the title. If I double click the T, I can change the text color, so I should be able to click right there and sample the yellow. I don't like that. All right, let's go with a purple. I like that better. All right, so change the name of the title. We'll call it Field of Flowers. All right, obviously we're going to have to resize this. So show transform controls, Command minus to get my sizing handle. Oh. Why is this not working? Did I freeze it? All right, so you can size this. Come on, don't freeze on me. All right, and we can center that in just a second. A little bigger. I think I need a faster computer here, folks. This thing is not, can't keep up. Good, good enough. All right, so we can reposition it in just a sec. All right, so there we go. We have Field of Flowers, drop the green screen, and we're done. So save this as green screen template finished. So I'm gonna go File, Save As. All right, green screen template finished. All right, so that's gonna go in my image editing. I can go with that poster template folder, that's fine. And hit save. All right, you're done, guys. Thanks.